Wow. Folks, it's Cyrus Says, and I'm the only person who says wow and Cyrus Says in the same sentence. It'll never be heard before or again. I just want to mention this is our debut in the new studio before we bring Mangalam on. Lots to talk about. I think it's his first time on. I'll get to him in a second. This is our new studio. You can see behind me. I'll poke the wall to show it's real. There, see, you can see that this is not somebody holding up a board, which is what I used to do in the 90s. This is a studio. And I don't know if I'll turn this slightly. And you may be able to see that Silvery and me are together for the first time since the pandemic started, March of 2020. So that's 2 years almost we've been apart. And it was a very emotional reunion. I went and said, Silvery, and he looked at me and said, who are you? But, I don't care. I felt the emotion. That's more important. Just want to quickly talk about, we also have Vinay, who's now, Vinay, you're the producer, right? I hope you're in the frame. Can you move? Yeah, there you go. That was Vinay. He didn't bother to even get up. His lack of respect for the show is clear. Vinay, we're doing a photo session after this. Mangalam, please be patient. I'm coming to you. The whole show's on you. I just want to quickly mention, because this is my rant for the day, and I want to just explain. I want to be open and honest about myself. I hate clothes. As a child, I hate fashion. I'm just anti-fashion, almost with arrogance. And, like it's a thing to do. It's fashionable for me to hate fashion. Anyone who knows me, grew up with me, works with me many times knows this. Yesterday, I got a call from Vinay, asked me to get 3 pastel-colored clothes and 3 lilac-colored pants, and I fainted. I just didn't know how to react. It was like someone talking in German to me. I just know, but I didn't want to disrespect him. So I said, yes, maybe, and I tried my best. But I just want to tell you, Vinay, this is love. Don't ever count on me for clothes, all right? This is not my thing. I can't tell you, if there was nothing left in the world, I would just fight against people wearing clothes. As a concept. But now here's someone you were wearing a suit before we started the show, and now you're down to the shirt and tie, Mangalam. What's going on?
I thought that I was wearing enough clothes for both of us. So
you were. The formality of the show has gone out of the window. I thought we'd start with this guy in a suit and all that's gone now. Because I got to introduce you. First, people don't know this, but you're French. It's Mangalam Maloo. Is it not? Maloo is a kind of name. You must have got a little, because it's easy, but it's also too easy. So I was thinking, growing up and all, did you get a few people who are a little confused with the name and not able to, because it sounds too good to be true? So I have the really difficult ones, or, the Maloo.
It's actually pronounced Malu, and that rhymes with a lot of other words like chalu, alu, bhalu, all of that. And see, that's what happened.
This is the research team who said it's pronounced Maloo and it's French. This is the research team. This guy.
So long as you put me in France and not Kerala, because a lot of people would say Maloo is Malayalam.
Racist. How dare you prefer France to Kerala? The south of France and the west of Kerala is exactly the same in terms of coastal accessibility and FSI and whether the government will let you build or not. So remember that. Mangalam, before we forget, I need to give your profile out, which as you please bear with me. I'm 50 years old. I left the glasses in the car because I had to travel today to come to work for the first time. Me and the Prime Minister are the same now. We travel to go to work. Can you imagine? That's true. Wow. Be careful. Don't reply. Mangalam Maloo was born, not given. Mangalam Maloo started his career with CNBC-TV18 in December 2014. So you are with this government, that's for sure. You just mirrored their timing. Fair enough. Prior to that, he was working with B&K Securities as a derivative strategist. We should end the podcast here. What could be more boring than, how to ask questions? Look at Silvery's reaction. He's not even paying attention now. Derivatives. Did I say that correctly? Derivatives. Okay, as a test for those listening, just say derivatives 5 times without stopping. Let's see if we can do that. So you want to tell us quickly a little bit about that? And let's see how people are, enraptured.
Yeah, so basically, it's just a mix of a couple of things. I studied media, and then after I realized being a Marwari, being, fascinated.
Where did you study media?
KC, I did BMM. I graduated in 2009.
Wow. So I just want to clarify. First, you attack Kerala, then you glorify France. Now you stereotype the Maru community. So I'm just putting it all out there because I want any trouble.
By the end of this episode, there'll be like 29 states, and all of them may have been.
I know, and then you go after genders and other stereotypes because this country is filled with that. Sorry. So you were studying media, then you said,
before all of that, just a disclosure that we're not trying to harm anyone and all of that and stuff. We're not, trying to hurt any sentiments and all of that. Do you do that kind of thing?
It's a gray area. It's a gray area with us on the podcast. We don't want to commit. Yeah, sometimes we do. If we are frustrated at home, we get a little channel to talk, vent, and things like that. But Mangalam, firstly, I should have said this in the beginning. It's a
Yeah.
great honor having you. People, again, Mangalam and I go back a few years, 5-6 years of, I would call it friendship loosely, because we work in the same building. Um, I don't want to say CNBC, TV18, and all that because that gives it away. So I won't say that.
Yeah.
And
You don't
he
want to
comes
say
and hangs.
Worli, Lower Parel and all of that either, right?
I don't want to use Worli because it's not really Worli. When you exit and enter Worli, you sort of breathe a little bit and say, "Oh, I'm in Worli." Because please explain this lower Worli, upper Worli nonsense. But the moment they put a little first name before a famous name, it just takes it away from the famous name, does it not? Like Little Richard is not Richard. He's just some little guy who didn't grow.
But then,
Uh,
okay.
Bad example. Bad example. Sorry. You be the
So I
host.
give you
You're
an
the host.
example. There were a lot of companies, which actually kept changing their names, and they started getting valuations because the names were changed. So I'll give you an example. There was this company called Tanla Solutions, which was listed on stock exchanges. Of course, they did very well in their business and stuff as well. The stock did well, and after that, everyone was talking about the platform business and all of that and stuff. The minute they changed their name to Tanla Platforms, the name changed the game for the company. What the stock moved up of 700, 800%. So yeah, what's in a name? Yes, something.
Yeah, I mean, the Bollywood does it. Tushar Kapoor got an extra A, and then the next three films were super hits. So I don't know. Maybe there's something to it. Mangalam, shall we make it Maloo with an extra O?
Maloo, let's go for it.
All right. All right. But listen, I'm not finished the introduction, and we still have to talk about the budget, which is why we
Yeah.
got you here. But I want to talk about your life. It's more interesting than the bloody budget. What the hell is a bloody budget anyway? Who pays attention except the opposition who just scream and shout?
We do. We pay a lot of attention.
Oh, I'm so sorry, not to belittle your work. Yes, you do. You do. It's your life's work. I'm such an idiot. Right. So then, after doing derivative strategies, you went straight into CNBC. Is that how
Yeah,
it went?
that's correct. That's correct. Yeah.
So how did you land that job
So
in front of camera and stuff?
I always wanted to be at CNBC TV18 because, see, like I said, media, and then after I realized that numbers are my thing. So media and finance. So I studied for CFA, MBA, and all of that and stuff.
Wait, go slow. Each degree is a high value thing. Don't act like it's easy. A lot of people don't even get one degree in their lifetime. Look at Parliament. So CFA and
MBA. I did my MBA in finance.
wow. One second. Let's look around the room. So he's a BA or whatever, BCom, BSc something.
Architect.
Then he's a CFA. 1 second.
Okay.
Shut up. CFA, MBA. Okay.
Wow.
Teen cheese hai usme. Teen cheese.
Okay.
And you are an architect.
I mean,
Qualified architect.
yeah,
Who's now
disqualified.
producing Cyrus
Yeah.
Brocha's podcast. The sense of failure can't be more. It just can't
Yeah,
be
but
more.
then we're all coming together, right? With an MBA, a CFA, BMM, architect, all of them, we're together in Cyrus Brocha's podcast.
Fair enough. So what you're saying is India is shining because after all these glorious degrees, you're doing a podcast which nobody listens to. No, I buy it. This is a one way to
I
say
listen to
the
it.
country. Bro, without you, we have no listenership. Please, we need you. Okay, let's first track your journey. So CNBC, how did you? So you wanted to do that, but how did you get the? I mean, there must be a whole, I won't say casting couch, but some sort of process where you have to audition, etc. Right?
So there was no audition, to be very honest. My only thing was that, okay, this was
Your dad made a call.
2013.
The typical
No.
Indian story.
I wish he did, but 2013 is the time when everyone was in CNBC. Actually, it was going through a tough time. There was the ownership change and all that. A lot of people were being.
I
asked
like
to
the way you
leave.
worded that. You worded that beautifully. You could have been a Miss India contestant. That was so diplomatically done. Yes, it was an upheaval of. It was a carnage in terms of sport. Yeah, go on.
Well, you said it, not me. So, at a time when there are people being asked to leave left, right, and center, I was this person trying to enter this organization and in a team where there is very low attrition. People don't go for years and all of that. The average age
True.
of our team in this organization would be around 8 to 9 odd years, if not more. So it was an uphill task because then you have this HR black box where you send all your emails to, your resumes and all of that. No one listens to you. So then my mission was to get rejected by the highest person ever. Because I don't want to get rejected for an interview by the HR or anyone. Who's the highest person who can reject me?
Fail, but fail shan se. Fair enough.
Yes.
Yeah.
Lose at the World Cup final, don't lose in the qualifying rounds. So then I figured out that Shireen Bhan was the managing editor. How do you reach Shireen Bhan? That time you had social media and all of that and stuff. So I tweeted to Shireen Bhan, and then I kept tweeting to her.
The first tweet got a reply?
The first tweet didn't get a reply. The next couple of tweets, one of them did get a reply saying that, Mangalam, why didn't you send me a resume? Now the problem is that I've gone ahead and gone for the shot, and she said, why didn't you send me a resume? And that was a googly that I didn't account for because I didn't know her email address and all of that and stuff. And it'd be extremely embarrassing to ask her
On
her email
Twitter,
address on Twitter. So then I went onto the CNBC website and I saw the domain name was network18online.com. So I just took a shot, shireen.bhan at network18online.com. It could be that, right? So I sent it, and surprisingly, that was correct. I hit pay dirt out there, and she replied saying, hey, we're not looking for anyone right now. Why don't you write to us in 3 months? I was like, I have nothing to lose. This is where I want to go. And every other thing that I had done in my life so far was, a culmination towards going here, media and finance put together, because this derivative
This is the exact words of Winston Churchill when he becomes prime minister in 1940 to fight the Germans and win the war for the Allies. Eventually, this is what I was born to do. So you're making this comparison is perfect, I think. So you suddenly realize that this is everything is bearing fruit for this one journey of yours, which starts now with that message to her. Sorry,
No,
I shouldn't interrupt.
in hindsight,
My pointless point here.
No, in
I'm so
hindsight, it
sorry.
sounds great and all. That time I was like, "Kyun nahi ho raha hai, yaar? What's happening?"
No,
and
but
all
you have to
that
wait.
stuff.
You have to wait, right? She's give you a 90-day
She's
staggered
given me a 90,
option.
1 quarter, financially speaking.
So then what happens?
Then 90 days later, I write again because what's the downside?
Like on the
You
day.
remember, I have
On the day.
a couple of days here and there, even Thanksgiving,
Yeah.
3 days, yeah. So I was like,
Yeah.
what's there to lose? I want to be rejected by the highest person, so let's do it chance here. She says 90 days, yeah, 93 days or whatever. Then I wrote to her again and all of that and stuff. And surprisingly, one of those 90 days, it turned out to be about 6 months or so. She said that we may have an opportunity for you. Why don't you come down for an interview? I said, okay, yeah, cool, I will do that. And the interview was in Lower Parel. Again, here's the story.
The karma of your life.
Gosh,
You can't escape it. Yeah.
You waited for like 180 days, all your life practically wanting to do this through jobs and wanting to get rejected by the highest person and all that. The interview was, started at 6 p.m. I said, okay, I was that time working at Fort and my office got done at 4. So I said, okay, 4 to 6, manageable. Lower Parel, worst case, you get there in an hour, 15 minutes max. So I took that road, and turned out there was some procession going on out there. I don't want to name, communities, political parties,
No.
religions, and all of that.
This
stuff.
is not the
Whatever
Joe
it
Rogan
was.
podcast. We can't
Yes.
take shots at people. Yeah.
No taking any shots. The point
Yeah.
was that on that JJ flyover, I was stuck for
Oh,
about
I
an
know
hour and a
exactly.
half.
I know exactly what happened. Huh.
So, and I was like, gosh, what's happening? It's been so long for me to get this opportunity. I get this opportunity, and of everything, an unannounced rally, whatever, is making me wait for that interview. So at 6, I called the office and I said, I'm stuck in terrible traffic. And Lata Venkatesh, who's the executive
Yeah.
editor, she took my interview. She said, no problem, Mangalam. I have been to the RBI myself a handful of times. I was like, of course you have. And I know how bad the traffic can be. Why don't you come tomorrow? I said, no, coming tomorrow. Let me just come today, because I don't know whether I get that opportunity again or not. And at 7:30, I reached there. And
Wow. 3
it was
hours for those
mad.
who are outside Mumbai.
3
That's like
hours.
5 kilometers. 5 or
I would
6
have reached
kilometers.
Pune.
Yeah.
I would have reached Pune.
Yeah. Huh.
So and then
For
the
this
minute I
alone,
got-
you deserve the job. For this alone, I would have given you without an interview. That you sat through this traffic and the ordeal of processions.
I think
Again,
this
we are
alone
secular.
spared
We
me.
hate all processions. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, this spared me the interview, I guess, because the first 5-6 minutes of the conversation were how traffic is extremely bad in Bombay, and
So, but you sort of relax, right? When you have this kind
yeah,
of situation, the whole pressure of that exam that you're going to is gone out of the window because trying to get there, so the fact that that pressure goes into that, and when you reach the actual exam area, you're not feeling any pressure anymore because you're so happy to be there, right? So in a way, it works for you because your body language must have been really relaxed, and then you probably make a
extremely
good
sweaty.
interview.
I'll be very honest because it was
That's
so
fine,
hot.
yeah. But
Yeah,
what
and then
the real you is presented. Otherwise, you'd have come all tight, and you take a little while to crack that ice and all that, and feel
I'll tell you
comfortable.
about pressure. What
Yeah.
happened was the minute I got
You
there,
wanted to pee on the JJ flyover? I've done it. Government approved. I'll show you the spot where they say 20 kilometers and less. Pee there. All right,
okay,
because people wave to
but
you and stuff. Yeah,
no, but there are cameras out there as well, right?
they don't charge you for peeing. They only charge you for going. If you're going peeing faster than 20 kilometers per hour, then they stop you. But I don't think they can really measure
What
that.
happens to the people? What happens to the people under the flyover?
Well, who asked them to live there? I mean, come on. The government has told you clearly, pool ke niche kabhi nahi. Kabhi nahi. In fact, talking of, there's a bloody pool if I've ever seen one.
I pee in public also.
Not only in public, for them it's like cocktail party. Like basically we don't have an item number or a comedian, so Silvery will just urinate for everyone, and he does it, and people clap. And
I get paid.
Cocktail,
there you go.
was the pun intended?
I don't know, but why are we going with this story in the middle of your? It's taking away from the only moment in this podcast which is real, which is your defining story about your life, which actually has got both pathos and motivation and truth to it. And then you go and
Was that story was
digress.
of humor added by you, yeah, Cyrus?
That's
so.
what kind of humor? Him peeing at cocktail parties, me on on people are under the bridge who are suffering from the pandemic.
But
I
how's
mean,
that
more.
divided by
They're praying to
story,
God.
man?
Next thing, a guy's peeing on them. Come on, stop it.
And you're giving too much importance to the story because it's a story about.
I love these
people
stories.
stuck on
These
JJ
stories,
flyover.
Mangalam,
So it is-
let's understand the statistics because Reuters are with us. Out of the 10 people listening, we need one person to like your story and feel good about himself. That's what this shows. He's going to say, maybe he has the interview tomorrow or today or whatever. Your story of 3.5 hours, it ends positively. It has what we call in Thailand a happy ending. Please tell us.
So I'll talk about pressure. The minute I got there, Lata and Senthil Chengalvaran, who was heading the
Legend.
channel at that time.
Senthil was a legend.
Absolute
Yeah.
legend. I probably am the last person who was hired or interviewed by Senthil for joining CNBC. So both of them are sitting right in front of me. I'm like nervous because I reached the interview about an hour and a half late. And they just immediately calm me down, saying it happens and all that and stuff. Do you want chai? Now, I don't drink chai or coffee, or I don't enjoy it. But then again, those are legends. They're asking you to have chai. It's like, yeah, okay. I mean,
Yeah, and
you
also
don't
you're
know what
late.
to do.
So now you don't want to be one of the upstart. Uske baad, you've already paid your bills now. You can't do more. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I'll have chai. So they asked the person to get chai and all of that and stuff. And by the time the chai is coming, the organization, you've worked in the office and all of that and stuff. So it takes more time to get chai from the first floor to the third floor than it takes from probably Darjeeling to
I hope you're
Bombay.
paying attention, Silver. He's taking cracks at in the story. He's taking this is like satire. He's taking cracks in the way we function in terms of canteen policies in CNBC. This is a huge moment here, because he's letting it out there. This is about 6-7 years of frustration just to get biscuits or chai because you order at 9 and then at 3:30 you normally get it.
And this is not me ordering it. Mind you, this is Senthil Chengalvaran
Senthil,
and Lata
the
Venkatesh
god
asking for
of
chai for
CNBC.
me. Yeah.
Biggest guy, yeah.
So he said, Lada. So till the time the chai arrives, the interview's done, the conversations happened, everything about work and all of that and stuff. Everything is done. The chai hasn't come. Now, just as they, politely say, yeah, Mangalam, nice speaking to you. We'll get back to you. The guy brings the chai. Now, out of niceness, those guys have to wait for me to finish the chai because that's how it happens.
What are you saying?
Out of
Were you thinking all this? Were you thinking all this in your head? Because that's not a
Yeah.
different kind of pressure. Yeah, I can imagine.
That's serious pressure, right? Because see, there's Lata, there's Senthil, this is me
God.
waiting for the job opportunity of my life, and there's some piping hot, terrible chai right in front of you.
I totally empathize because I hate chai myself. I'm just thinking this is now worse than if they just gave you a simple video test in the old-fashioned style. Yeah.
They should have just asked me to say something, I would have said it and all. But now I have to
Exactly.
drink chai in front of them and just look at them and be like, and they're waiting for me because it's 7:30. They do have to get home because they've come to office at about 6
Let
a.m.
people know
in
the
morning and all
pain
that
of being
stuff.
a financial analyst. Where you are today is not easy. They think you just have to know the banks and know the stock market and know the businesses and commerce. It's not. It's much deeper than that. You have to get through withdrawals of chai and coffee and all this. Wow.
Yeah, the kind of. And then you have to make small talk, unnecessary small talk, right
Do you
after an interview with the legends.
Yeah. What was it?
And
What was
then-
the small talk? Do you recall?
So yeah, I mean, for
What do you
Lata,
go
I
into?
have-
What do you go into from there? Sachin just retired. I don't know. What will you get
No,
into?
for me the thing was that okay, it was also at that point in my mind I wasn't hired, right? But like okay, this is the only chance that I get to speak to Lata and Senthil. So why not now ask them questions what I always wanted to know as a fan because I always wanted to be at CNBC-TV18. So Lata, I followed her, macroeconomic policy and RBI policy and governors and all of that and stuff. During MBA, we would, just switch on our TV every time there was the RBI policy. So then I would speak to Lata about what do you think of the policies by Raghuram Rajan, YV Reddy and all of that and stuff. And then for Senthil as well, I was like, you've been around for so long.
You got to balance
and
it
all
now.
that stuff.
You've shown
Yeah,
interest in
because you can't
her
ask this one
speciality.
person
Yeah,
and
you
the
got to
other
balance it.
person,
Yeah.
So then I spoke to Senthil, and that time he spoke some serious golden words. He said that, Mangalam, our job is...
चाय बाहर से लाना.
अगली बार आगे तो चाय अपना खुद का लेके आना.
That's
Oh,
what you get
gosh.
from the market. Yeah, sorry, go on.
No. He said, so, what you're going to do here is that of a surgeon. The job is similar to that of a surgeon. You are expected to save lives of patients. If you save lives, you won't get any congratulatory messages or anything of that sort because that's your job. But ensure that no patient dies on your table. And that was crazy because...
What? That's now more
Yeah,
pressure. You've had 3 hours in a
that's
car
serious
without peeing.
pressure.
Oh my God.
And then having that hot chai and then being told about ensure that no patients die on your table. And
Why?
that actually...
Why did you have to say that? Suddenly, like
that
it was a
But that
normal
suddenly
job
relieved
in your
me.
head. Yeah.
Yeah, that suddenly relieved me because I'm like, okay,
What does
he's
he
thinking
mean?
of... He means that, every news item that you speak about, every good thing that you do, it is expected because you're the best financial channel in the country. You have to say it. People are going to expect you to do the best analysis. But the minute you do something wrong, they're going to vilify you. They're going to, go
But
after
by
you.
wrong you mean, and I will ask you this actually in any case. By wrong you mean because people follow you and they take their decision making is to do with a lot of what you say. Even if you don't
Yeah.
pointedly say something, you sort of, it's a gray
Exactly.
area.
Yeah,
But they get inference from it and then they go ahead. So if the
Yeah.
market tanks for whatever reason, as it does from time to time,
Yeah.
he's saying that you're to blame.
He's not saying that I'm to blame. He's saying that,
But I need to blame someone, please.
The market will always blame someone, right? It's a zero-sum
Yeah.
game. Someone gains, someone loses. And at any given point in time, one half of the audience will be unhappy with you. That's a given. That's a given. But the point is that you should have your reasoning, your facts, your logic, and your thought process clear. And you should not intentionally say something wrong. And even if you're saying something incorrect unintentionally, you have to be, absolutely upfront about it and apologize to the people, saying that, okay, this is where we erred, and this is what we have to say.
But also the whole thing is you'll have to always, I was for safety as I'm a lawyer's son and
Yeah.
3 generations of lawyers, is that you'd always have words like allegedly or words to that effect where you can't tell us for sure, that this is a sure buy. I hear people saying that also. I hear you guys using words like that, but at the end of the day, there is no sure buy, for example.
No, you wouldn't hear us as anchors or research analysts saying that this is a sure buy or sell because we're not allowed to. We're not supposed to help people. We're not players. Let's put it this way. We're commentators. So you can't have Harsha Bogle say that go ahead and hit a 6, or this is the player that is going to. This is the team that's going to win. He's just got to say that. Okay, this is what's happening in the match, and that's what we say, right?
Okay, there's a little distraction in my studio, Mangalam. Hang on. They're all laughing, and it's not because of us, so let's find out why.
There is a very funny... There's a very funny comment. Sorry.
Okay.
There's a very funny
Says,
comment.
Guys, end the podcast fast. Mr. Mangalam has a plane to fly soon.
Because you look like a pilot. You get it? It's a very
Yeah,
nice
I
comment.
get it.
So they don't laugh at anything we say. We think we're comedians, you and me. But Shavik Bakshi has sent in this silly comment which makes you look like a pilot, which is cute, funny. I would not say, that it's Bill Burr at his very best. But these 3 monkeys in the studio have gone berserk. Actually, comedy mil gaya show pe. They're all laughing, which makes us redundant. All right? The surgery has happened and the patient has died on the table. And it's this podcast. I must tell you that. But let's just get back to that moment and then we can move on from there, which is that, so he tells you this thing which suddenly gives you a lot of gravity, what is the right word? Gravitas to the situation. No, it's because
it
in
makes
your
you
head.
responsible for everything that's happening in the world right now.
But actually, now when you think about it, especially during the pandemic and all, you're like a light at the end of the tunnel because people think how to make money with money. Since we're not earning money at this point, so we just go back to the old-fashioned way. And then Mangalam plays an even more important role because now where do you start? I'm going back to 2020. We'll get to the budget as well now. But I do think from day to day, it's far more pressure than one would acknowledge.
Yeah, which is why we listen to Cyrus Says on our way back, just to release that pressure.
He's trying to pass the buck. You're going to tell this. Mr. Sharma has lost his livelihood because of somebody these guys say, and he's transferring it to Cyrus Says.
No, what I'm trying.
I got 3 8-year-olds working with me. You saw they think you're a pilot, and that's it. They're getting look at the reaction. You say pilot, look at Rishi. I don't know if you can see Rishi. You got to see Rishi. That, dressed like Nurse Braganza, we call him. That's Rishi. There you go.
He's not.
Oh,
You
it's
didn't
Rishi,
show him.
is
Oh,
that,
we didn't see him. We
No,
didn't.
no,
We,
not
sorry,
at all.
director of photography is not good. Wasn't able to capture Rishi, the essence of the man. We will get him. He's Rishi with an extra H. By the way, we were discussing names earlier on.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I'm Mangalam with 3 M's and whatever.
but your 3 M's make sense. There's no like Mangalam. You should be NM. If you're an NM, Namangalam. Those are the ones I like. What foreigners go mad. Foreigners meeting for the first time, it's like NM and we're like,
They go mad with Mangalam themselves. You talk about French people, they don't know how to pronounce my first name. They're like, Majoron, it's Mangola. I don't know what it is. It's just all over the place. So I go, Maloo.
Why is a financial analyst from Parel hanging out with the French? What's going on? Are you involved in any scandal that I should not talk about because it's possibly pointing finger at the center and the French aircraft?
Every once in a while as well.
Okay, anyway. Leave it there. So finish the story. The story is never ending. The chai and the story are both never ending. What's going on? Yeah.
So then eventually they offered me the job and all of that and stuff. And
that day they offered you the job after
no,
the
that
lecture.
day they didn't offer, but that day when he offered that insight saying that your job is going to be that of a surgeon, that means okay, he's seeing something in me, maybe not a surgeon directly, but at least someone who can assist the surgeon, or a compounder.
So you'd wear a skirt. No, they're male nurses also. I mean, in the PC world we live in, you can wear skirts, male or female. The Scottish wear skirts. I mean, let's not make a big deal out of skirts. Fair enough.
Yeah. I am a skirt right now, actually.
Are you? Would you get up and show us and twirl twice? But just tell me one thing. So as you exited the Parel office that day, you didn't have the job in hand yet.
I didn't have the job in hand.
So what did you think? You think you were going to work there or not? You just there was a hint.
I just thought that I had a good time after the ordeal that I had to go through.
He went to party. He drove 3 hours or 5 kilometers just to party with Lata and Senthil. That's the story we're getting.
Yeah, the base was that you're going to get rejected by the highest person, right? So now even if I do get rejected, it's by the executive editor and the legend of CNBC-TV18.
Mangalam, there's a request. Sorry to interrupt. Can you just say this line? Ladies and gentlemen, fasten your seatbelts.
Ladies and gentlemen, fasten your seatbelts. We are likely to land at Kochi in about 10 hours.
Wow. Excellent. You won Kerala back. You won Kerala back after all that abuse. Superbly done. Yeah. My inference, this is what works in India. They didn't want to hear anything about the story. Hated the story. They love this. So every 5 minutes, one announcement as pilot.
Yeah, every 5 minutes.
It's okay. Bro, what a nice story. So when you get the job and so when you drive back and the irony is that the drive back is 10 minutes.
7-8 minutes.
Mumbai. People from outside Mumbai, please don't come here. Not because we're racist or whatever and don't want you here. We don't want you to suffer. I mean, this is so ridiculous. 3 hours he goes for interview. When he doesn't have to go in a hurry, it's 7 minutes. Let's just go back home with no agenda. Oh, how I hate the city sometimes. But so when do you get the job? Does Shireen call you herself? Does Senthil call you? How does it work?
They send me an email. The HR calls you and all of that and stuff. Then the formality takes over. In about 15 days or you have the offer letter in your hand in December 1, 2014. So the story that I'm talking about is somewhere around the end of October or November, and December 1, I'm asked to join, and that's my first day.
Wow. It's an excellent tale, and already Sanjay Leela Bhansali has called up for rights for the movie. I'm saying, look, I just don't like the title. They are saying autopilot. I'm saying, wo to sahi nahi hai. We need to get a... No, not good. I say, Ek Cup Chai is a better title for this.
But Sanjay Leela Bhansali, the problem is that his movies are 3 hours long. Those 3 hours will be stuck on the JJ flyover.
So it's pre-interval. Because after the interval is the interview. Fair enough. Yeah. We got a screwed up film, bro.
And the credits will be just 7 minutes on the way back home.
And do I get to do a comedy track? Because, this is a Bollywood film.
You are the lead actor. You are playing me.
I'm playing you. I don't even have pants. I mean, you're a well-dressed... By the way, Mangalam is very polished and well-dressed for those who don't know him well enough. What you see on camera, he's actually like that. He's never a kind of guy you'll see badly dressed or badly kept. That's fair to say, right, Mangalam? That's okay.
Fair to say because, I mean, I don't know. They
no, but even when you're not ready for work, when you come and hang with us before your day starts, you're always clean, neat. You're so different from my group here. My group just look like guys from the road who are just by mistake brought up because of an NGO or something, And
I wouldn't go so far to say that. I mean,
no, the guys in finance, the CNBC journos, if I can call them that, male and female, are always well turned out. And then the guys in proper news, I don't know whether there's a communist angle to it. We always look like we haven't been paid for 3 months. Don't you
No,
feel?
because no, and I mean, perhaps you may not have been paid for 3 months. I'm not going to comment on that.
We're still waiting for the chai. You're talking about pani. Chai pani nahi milega. Chai. That's all.
Okay, but in our case, the thing is that between 9:15 to 3:30, you're standing at the slips, right? Kabhi bhi kuch bhi aa sakta hai. So you always have to be ready, because if the news breaks, you don't run first to the makeup room to wear your tie and all of that and stuff. You just jump and you have to analyze.
Wow, that's fun. This is like being a doctor on call, especially in these months where we have this, the big rise for the
I mean,
budget.
you have a lot of respect for doctors and all. I would just call it a slip fielder. Yeah.
I don't have that much respect for doctors. I believe they overcharge. And also, I don't like the fact that they call everyone at the same time. After that one experience where 15 of us were waiting at the 5:30 appointment, where I rushed to be on time, 5:25 I'm there, and everybody's standing in the same place. And finally I asked them, what time are you at 5:30? What time you called? 5:30. You can't call 15 people at 5:30.
I empathize
It's not
with you out there.
that he should be a stand-up comedian, the doctor, right? He should be doing a performance for us. Oh, so you got HIV, I will cure you. You got cholera, come sit on my lap. I mean, he should be doing that, but he's not doing that. He's take 20 minutes with one guy. So my 5:30 came at 7:30. I fired him. But I was in pain.
Okay.
So I let him fondle me, and then I fired him. Okay. Listen. So one second. Now we set up your life slightly, but we actually have reached nowhere in this program.
Nowhere,
Which is the
absolutely
aim. We were supposed to talk about the budget of 2022.
Yeah.
I wanted to actually go to
You
2021
want me to,
first.
like, change the conversation to 2022 and be like, ladies and gentlemen, this is the time.
वो भी कर सकता है, because can you do it in your pilot voice? The board pilot voice. Ladies and gentlemen, we are flying over Jaipur, 30,000 feet below Pink City, Jaipur. Because they do it so often, there's just no feeling left. Maybe would you like to audition for that?
Let me try.
You can say no.
You never say no. You never say no to Cyrus.
Yeah. Too sporting, brother. Yeah. The people who listen to our show, the regulars, the live. So let's say a small bunch of people, but they are very, very active. Let's call them dynamic, so that we don't upset anyone. They will pick, and every little thing that happens, they will pick on. Now your tie there, Ruben David has started. Poor guy can prepare to talk about budget, now flying a plane. You see, so we're screwed. This is like good trolling.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just like good trolling. So you just have to take it on the chin. It's like sledging in the old days, and then cross lines and abuse your mom, dad, and everything else. So this is all good. This is fine. Just before we take the break, just a couple of words, then we'll go to the budget post break. It makes more sense, because Silvery is the man with the money, and he wants to talk as well. The one question I want to ask you is, do you, in your 6-7 years, is there one budget which has stood 14, let's say, to 22, so 8 budgets actually, I would think, or 7 budgets at least. Which one would stand out as the best? Is that a fair question, firstly? And is there one where Mangalam came up saying this is for the country a great budget?
To be very honest, it's a little difficult, because
You
ever
don't
since-
care.
No, not that we don't care, because ever since I joined, every year something or the other did happen, right? My first year, 2014, first we had the interim budget because the government had changed. Then
Correct.
we had another budget.
There were 7 budgets that first year, yeah.
Yes. I mean, 2 of them. So that happened.
2 plus railway 2, and it goes on.
Well, yes. Then the other thing that happened was the railway budget was scrapped. And then you had just one budget combined into 2. And from 28th or 29th of February, that was moved to the 1st of February. And it was on Saturday. So, the entire idea of a budget and your first budget took away from the quality or the quantity of the budget or the announcements that were made. And that weren't too many as well, because the government was new and they were just coming off a huge fiscal deficit.
But that was a piece of genius, to try and place it on 29th Feb, which comes once in 4 years, because I thought that would be great. Aaj ka budget to nahi hai, but be in touch when you call the government.
And then immediately after that, we had GST. So, things changed for the budget, because the central and the direct and indirect tax regime had changed. So we had to work around that. And immediately after that, there was demonetization. So that had its own impact on the economy and the budget and all of that. And just before we were trying to settle in, the pandemic happened. So, every budget has been so eventful that...
So in a sense, sorry, go on.
Yeah, go
no,
ahead.
I'm just saying that all 7 years have been bumpy, now that you mentioned it, in one way or the other. We haven't had like a simple year. So this is your karma. But, Central must have had 10 good years before that. Trying to think, not too much upheaval in society, which is beyond just financial upheaval. Of course, it all gets connected. But the point of the matter is, these things have, with lower Parel falling left, right, there's nothing left. Let's be honest. But they said it was going to be.
The short
Sorry?
point about all these things is that,
I like that.
despite
That's criticism, the short point. Yes, go on.
sorry. So the short point among all these bumpiness and all of that and stuff is that no matter what happens, over the last 7 years, when I joined the first budget, the Nifty was close to around 8,000, and now as we speak, it's 17,500. So over the long term, the
Will it go over
economy
1
in
lakh?
India,
I heard this ridiculous rumor that in the next year and a half of recovery, it'll go over 1 lakh. Is it true or rubbish?
1 lakh is rubbish, I would say, but at some point in its lifetime, it will go to 1 lakh, right? I won't put the time to that.
I know you mustn't commit. No analyst should ever commit. Committing is the
Yes,
wrong
that's
thing
what they
to do.
say, right, in the financial world, that if you give a target, don't give a time. If you give a target, if you give a time, don't give a target. And if you give both the target and the time, just ensure you're not there at that time.
Yes. That was Lata Venkatesh's prediction, not yours.
She's
For
a that.
example,
Okay.
No, I'm just saying the seniors. You can always blame the
Okay.
seniors because they've got that equity going for them. Look, we have to take a quick break because you, as usual,
we'll
gone
take a
on and
break.
on and on. Can you do it in your pilot voice and just say, ladies and gentlemen, we'll have to stop the aircraft and then we'll come back in a second.
Ladies and gentlemen, there's a bit of a detour that we have to take right now. So we just take a detour of Kochi, go perhaps to Madras and come back in just a short while. Take care of our cabin crew. Take care of you.
Well, it's now called Chennai, otherwise you'll get into trouble there as well. So I got to I'm very worried about this podcast in terms of culturally. There's lots of
I told
mistakes.
you about the 29 states we might offend. So.
30. Okay, here's the break. We didn't get the number right. We have to be careful. Here's the break.
Hey everybody, it's been another great week on the IVM Podcast Network. On Storytellers and Storysellers, Vineet talks to founders Dinesh and Vivek about the path-breaking changes their AR edugaming startup PlayShifu has brought about. On Think Fast, Varun and Suchita talk to communications consultant Karthik Srinivasan. He shares his insights on brand stories, woke culture, and regional content. On Cyrus Says, a cock and bull episode with ex-producers Naveen Narona and Abbas Momin. Cyrus asks if they ever participated in a fancy dress competition. On All Things Policy, the Takshashila Institute folks discuss the importance of digital equity in achieving true progress. And on Probation se Promotion Tak, Abhinav gives us tips to be mindful of before seeking a mentor. Also, just one quick announcement for everybody. Would like you to check out the new version of our Android app. It's available on the Play Store. It's a really interesting take on how to listen to podcasts. Do give it a look and let us know what you think. We're open to feedback on all of our social media channels. We're IVM Podcasts on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. Also, do remember, if you're enjoying this show or any of our other shows for that matter, please do tell a friend. Word of mouth really does help. And don't forget to rate us on any of the platforms you're listening to us on. And you can also check us out on YouTube. And we have a number of channels there at ivmpodcast.com/YouTube where you can take a look at them. And finally, we'd like to thank our sponsors this week, Bank of Baroda and CoinSwitch Kuber. Thank you so much for making this possible.
Yes, welcome back. Mangalam has gone to sleep because he was watching his own podcast. To me all the time, I totally understand. Mangalam, my good friend, you know him, Trix, or
Yes,
the
I
artist
do.
known as Silvery. There's a 3 window now, which happens
Yes.
miraculously 5 seconds too late. Silvery is actually the budget guy here because he's the guy who handles
Yes,
money in this office.
This is what I do. Yes.
Basically, when we want lassi, we give him $30. He goes down to 27 and pays the accounts.
And then
But,
he takes like 1/3. He drinks 1/3 of a lassi and gives it to you because that was TDS.
it's called Punjabi by nature. You're right. but yeah, if we have time, demonetization, etc. as well. But I think the one thing we want to really talk about, because the people who listen to the show are
Yeah.
very interested in this, crypto. Okay, now give us a little bit about what the budget says about crypto, and then also your personal insight, because we hear all kinds of always hearing cross purposes from different, let's say, lobbies.
Yeah. So, it's the first time ever that the government in any forum, so to say, has recognized digital assets as a digital asset, so to say. By doing, how have they done that? They've announced a tax, a 30% tax on transfer of virtual digital assets. This virtual digital asset could be defined as NFTs, could be defined as cryptos, or could be defined as anything which is a form of a digital token. Does that make it legal? No. This 30% tax on digital assets is the same as the tax that we have on lottery, same as the tax that we have on any sort of gaming winnings and all of that and stuff. So, what the government is essentially telling you is that we recognize that there is something like this which is currently taking place. And if you are making money off this, we better get our share from it. And these are not my words. These are the Revenue Secretary's words. I've said that to our channel here on CNBC-TV18. Does that make crypto legal? No, because we still have the cryptocurrency bill which is pending, which won't be taken up in this session.
But then how can they mention it? How can they mention it in the budget, or how can they mention it in? I mean, how they've legitimized it, and then you're saying it's not legal
No, so
because of the
that's
pending
the
bill.
no, so the tax part is what they've spoken about. The legality is what they haven't spoken about, right? They're saying that if you're
I mean,
so it's like narcotics then. We'll tax the drug trade, but it's not legal.
they've called it digital asset. No, I think they've given them some flexibility. That's
exactly.
To say, oh, we didn't mean crypto, we meant something else. No, not digital.
But they're not committing. They're behaving like analysts.
Yeah, that's exactly.
This is not committing is not fair.
No, but
Half the reason. No, but there's no bullishness, or rather, there's less bullishness, I presume, because people are worried, but there's no commitment from the political wing of the whole thing. Can you just put on your political hat and say, what are they trying to do?
What they're trying
from
to
their
do
point
right
of
now
view
is, I mean, they're facing a ball on the good length. They don't know whether to go on the back
forward
foot
or back.
or the front foot. Yeah.
Silvery को cricket नहीं आता है. एक minute. Silvery, that
Yeah.
ball is a cricket ball, not what's in your pant. So do not
okay.
overreact. He's
And
worried.
the bat?
He's worried why Mangalam is interested in what's, I mean, it is a very personal conversation.
Okay, cool.
The bat, you want to take this further?
I'm just,
Has this not been a bad enough
wait,
podcast? You go ahead.
Why is there only one ball and one bat?
Balla का मतलब क्या है? Come on, take your time. Shavik will soon send us a reminder.
Wait,
to
what's
fly
the
plane.
boundary again? Okay, sorry, go ahead.
Don't scruff the ball. That's what he's trying to say. Sorry. But you're lovely, your metaphors, and we're killing the moment. Your intelligent metaphor and just destroyed. So it's a ball where you can't go forward or back. No, but I'll just put devil's advocate. Never use devil with government, but just for a second, what do they believe in it or not, or do they not know what they want to do? Because that's what's coming out to me.
So there are three things in which crypto can be, classified. One, is it currency? Well, it turns out not. Currency is, it's used as a medium of exchange, and there are a lot of things that are, preceding.
Elon Musk says it's currency.
Great for him, but the thing is that can you, I mean, with all due respect to Elon Musk, I'm sure he's listening.
Too late.
So,
Your Tesla's cancelled.
The thing, so you can't be, buying something today and get into a contract with someone on cryptocurrency, say 3 months from now, because you don't know what would the price be. Given the sort of fluctuation, currency is supposed to be a lot more stable than what cryptos or Bitcoin or all the other are, right? The second thing is that currency has to have some sort of government backing. And assuming that government will go ahead and legalize something which has no government backing makes no sense. It's like, the government trying to legitimize something which the government hasn't approved of it in the first place in any case. So it's that. And the third thing is that will they use this, or are they defining crypto as an asset class? What is an asset class? An asset class is something like a gold, something like investments that you have and all of that and stuff, which may not be used as currency on a daily basis, but it is used by people as investments, right? So it could be either an asset class, it could be a currency. Government is definitely, I don't think any government apart from the government of Ecuador has announced crypto as
legitimized it fully,
Yes. So
what is the fear? They fear that the whole system will be overrun and everybody will switch to a culture of crypto, and the cash and the white money as we have it disappears, and this becomes
that is one fear. The second fear is that you don't have any international accountability. How do you trust a system which has no international accountability from the government? Now today, for money to go from India to say XYZ countries, we are not fully capital account convertible. I can't buy, I can't take all my money and put it into the US, etc. But if it's Bitcoin, which doesn't have any international borders, the only border is digital versus real, then governments don't have roles to play in that. And well, when things are great, it is great. But when things are going south, the government won't be able to control it because it couldn't control it on the way up either.
God, Mangalam, now I'm more confused. I actually thought, we'll talk and I'll figure this out. Now I'm actually more confused. And I'm shooting something for Bitcoin in 48 hours, just by the way. So I should not be confused. But Bitcoin, Zindabad.
But for the future of crypto, is it a good thing? Is it on the road to legality? Is this?
Hey, you're pushing him to give you make you feel
I don't
good.
know.
Because let me tell you, the background case, man.
No,
they have sold the Pawai house. They have sold the Pawai house and invested in crypto. He's now living in a chawl in Lower Parel. Okay.
With a lot of crypto, but no house.
He's got crypto, and maybe he may be laughing. He may be laughing, but bought a building within a couple of years. You never know. But I'm just saying.
No,
so he wants you to commit, brother.
No, a lot of people have made serious amounts of money in crypto, and that's exactly what the government is eyeing right now. They want to
A slice of the
Get your
pie.
money, yeah.
Yeah.
slice of the pie. One, secondly, they want to trace it as well. A lot of that money perhaps could also be through channels which are not accounted for. So by adding that 1% TDS and all of that and stuff, they're ensuring that there is some sort of tracking this. And the important part, while the government is saying that while we legitimize the taxation on crypto, we're not encouraging you to go ahead and invest in crypto, because what they've done is they haven't allowed a set of losses against tax. So, for instance, if go ahead.
No, sorry, I'm just saying. So, but the point you're making here is also as the electricity, because you mentioned government twice with the Bijli goes.
Yeah.
I will tell you immediately. The one point you're not saying is that they aren't negating it fully either.
They are negating it
So
fully.
you got like drugs. Drugs is bad. You negate it. Here, they're not clear about what the policy is because they actually are not clear about any policy.
Who's clear about any policy, right? I mean, on crypto, who knows anything right now? We're all going through it as we are together, so we don't know.
Even the American US government is
Exactly.
a little iffy, is it not? When it comes to
They're
crypto.
all iffy. In fact, the central governments now want to start their own digital coin, because what they believe in is the background or
This is like the
skeleton
IPL.
on which-
Throw Lalit Modi out and we'll take over. Okay, this is the Indian way, bro. This is
That's
Sanskriti
exactly
mein
right.
likha hai, page 3. Yeah.
Not the Indian way, it's globally, right? Every central bank wants their control on crypto. So you have
What's the point of running the country if somebody else runs the currency? I understand your point.
Exactly.
So will we
Finance, defense, I mean, there's just 2-3 things you're interested in. Nobody really cares about the agrarian economy. Oh, no, that's very important.
I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that.
So will we have a digital rupee at some point, you mean?
We will
Is
have a
that what-
digital rupee at some point, because that's exactly what the finance minister yesterday
It's
announced.
called
as
Paytm,
well.
brother. It's called Paytm.
Dude,
Telugu kuch pata nahi
that
hai.
was going terribly.
Learn from your man.
Paytm IPO was performing so badly.
Doesn't
Why would
matter.
it-
According to
example.
Mangalam, aaj nahi to kal. Remember Maharashtra Raj Lottery ka phal? Aaj nahi to kal. I think it's the best slogan ever, because it means that even no matter how bad it is, we're still giving you hope. So 30 years.
And we're still
you
taking
pay
taxes,
lottery
right?
money.
No matter what happens,
Yes,
if you win,
yes,
we get
yes.
31%. That's a
There you
bit
go.
for the government. Go ahead.
Super. Or okay. So about last on the subject, there's Mangalam, and I'm sure you're getting this question all the time in regards to stock. Do you put money in? Have you put money in crypto? If you don't mind answering, you
No,
don't
I
tell me how
haven't
much.
No, I haven't put money in crypto. One, because I'll be very honest, I don't completely understand the legality of cryptos. And you don't want to be putting your money in something where tomorrow someone comes and tells you that this is not legitimate money, or we're not recognizing this as your legitimate source of income. You don't want to be doing that, because that takes away your credibility.
Do any of your ministerial friends, especially in the union cabinet, have they put money in crypto that you know personally?
I wouldn't know of that.
How can you say that? Mangalam, you have chai with everyone and you hate chai. So I know your stories. What the hell is going on, Sylvie? We called the analyst on. He's not telling us the inside story. Okay, Mangalam, he's going to ask you more intelligent questions on the budget.
One more thing is about healthcare. Like the serious reduction in expenditure on healthcare for this 2022-2023 year.
Yeah.
And they're saying that's not a great thing, because you're citing there's a lower vaccination requirement, but it's not like our healthcare system has been performing so well anyway. So all that money that was coming in, why are you reducing that? Let that come in.
Sylvie, that's a tough one, huh? Because from some perspectives, our healthcare is not the worst in the world. Because from a global perspective and the way the pandemic is run, India actually is not looking like the worst. Initially, we were. I think the first 6 months we look amongst the worst. But so I'm not taking the far be it from me to take the government side ever. I'm just saying. Mangalam, you answer. Why am I answering?
The only thing is that everyone's looking at the dramatic reduction from last year. But last year was a one-off year. They had accounted for some 43,000 crores earlier. And because of the vaccination drive and all of that, they bumped that number up, revised that number up to 71,000 crores. And it's not that this year they're not spending anything on healthcare. It's come down from 71,000 crores to around 41,000 odd crores, if I get that number correct, 1,000 crore here or there. The point is that, it's not that they're not spending on healthcare. It's just not that they're not spending as much as what they did last year because of the vaccine.
Could it be too much of a good thing? The marginal utility of the product. 2 years of healthcare, both bored ho gaya hum log, kantal ho gaya abhi. Let's spend on something else. Football.
No, so they're spending. Actually, their plan is on capital expenditure, which is you're spending on roads, you're spending on highways, you're spending on infrastructure.
Stop it. I won't get to center, but I can speak state here. This is spending on roads, stop it. Because the road doesn't happen. So why are you spending on the road? You might as well just throw the money on the road and let us collect it. It makes more sense.
You know,
Why
you
they
talk
just do
about
that?
inside stories. Let me tell you something. I
Please.
learned from someone who knew someone in the government and all of that and stuff. And this answered a lot of questions for me. Cyrus, do you notice why is it that there are more roads dug up than flyovers or bridges that are built? Because it is easier. And these are not my words. This is words of someone who spoke to someone. So don't directly target me for this. They said it is easier to fudge the numbers when you dig than when you construct. Because if you are constructing a flyover, then you have to give an account of the kind of cement that you use, the amount of cement that you use, and the amount of construction that you've done. And for the construction that you've done, everyone can easily see, okay, this is
The
what has happened.
tangible,
Back calculate.
physical.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there
yeah,
is
yeah.
tangible.
Correct.
But today I tell you that I have dug this road and I have pulled out, say, 10 tons of stuff from inside. And I actually pull out just 1 ton and I cover the road. Who's to say?
God.
Right?
Mangalam, they're just
This is-
digging roads up for fun. They're making money on it
Exactly.
for no
Exactly.
reason. At least
And
bury my
this
relatives.
is not just
Also,
India. This is not just India. I was traveling in someone.
it's all four countries: Pakistan, India, Nepal, and Sri Lanka.
No,
Is
even
it?
Turkey for that matter. Someone said that,
Turkey, the beautiful country of Turkey.
the kind of corruption that you can see in a country.
So what do you think?
is
This is
directly-
101 corruption, is it? That you want to make
This is
money in
directly
your
correlated to the
PWD?
kind of roads that you see.
No,
on the road.
PWD digging is always the essential thing. So in case
Digging
you
is
get
the
a job,
essential thing, not building.
just dig.
So which is why
Just-
every time you travel, you just see people digging the road and not building anything on it.
And the metro, they promised me 2021. I spoke to so many people. They said 2021, whatever happens in the pandemic, they said we can gallop now. Ab log to nahi hai, to kar sakta hai kaam. And that gallop didn't happen because the workers themselves went home. I don't know what happened. There's like 2 guys at every metro shelter having chai, thinking of you. I
You're
think. I
talking
don't
about
know.
the budget and you bring me back to that pain point.
It comes to the same thing because the money is wasted. You're saying that they're targeting the expense on infrastructure, and infrastructure is always like you've just explained to us. It's like a dragon, man. Nobody can control infrastructure. And I would, if I had a kid now, I would say try and work in PWD anywhere in the world, if not in India, where I think there's so much creativity for you to make money without anyone really knowing, as you have just opened our eyes to. So forget crypto, guys. The real money is in digging. That's the lesson we've learned today, and please take that at heart. The pilot has spoken.
Bitcoin mining, you're better off mining the roads.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, fair enough. And in China, they have miners and they have roads, and that's miners spelled MINERS. I just want to mention. Okay, Vinay is putting his hand up, which means he's watching a game of cricket, I think. He's given a decision. But he's trying to say something. Yeah, bolo.
Mangalam, so like in like layman's terms, what would this budget end up
You don't have to
meaning?
say layman's term.
No.
He knows he's talking to
I know.
idiots.
Correct.
That premise is there. There's no need to say, guys, please help me. Don't use technical financial jargon.
But what does this end up meaning for the middle class?
What
how does
middle
it
class?
affect
You
the
live in Powai, 4-bedroom
I'm-
house. What middle class?
We're all
Don't
middle
do
class.
acting.
Upper
I hate
middle class
acting.
only. What is?
You're not middle class.
I mean, kind of.
The true middle class of India is not you.
Okay. Our listeners,
Your
listeners might be
Your
someone
bloody
in the
listeners
class.
are all upper middle class. There's no middle class.
What does this mean for the upper middle class?
Middle class is the person who's always at the end of the month, their salary is by 20th over. Okay, he's running out of money. You're not. This guy is a terrible guy. But he owns land in Goa. He owns land in
No.
Delhi. He has Punjab property which he doesn't know about yet.
Plus
But the
Bitcoin.
Bitcoin, तो
yeah,
boss उसका पूरा हाथ गया उसमें. He's huge in Bitcoin. He's huge. And I don't know, yaar, we're middle class. This is like a mantri. Oh, I'm son of the soil, middle class. Lamborghini में आ गया कौन सा angle से son of the soil? No son of the soil is in Lamborghini.
Okay. I mean, but okay, what does it mean for middle class, upper middle class, and low income households also?
Oh, you care so much, Baba?
I mean, yeah, it is. It is.
He cried
good,
in the
no?
first 6 months for people who were walking, the migrants walking back and all. He cried.
I
so
mean,
much.
see, they say the economy is made of the middle class because
What middle class? You don't know
no,
anybody.
because we are the middle class gets taxed, but they are also the ones who spend the money in the economy, right? They are the ones who will make the demand and will buy your products or whatever.
You two rich dudes talk about middle class. I'll listen.
No, I'm not. Not a rich person by any stretch of
But see,
imagination.
in the Mado community, there's no middle class. Huh? There's super rich and rich.
No,
The
middle
rich
class
are the
is-
poor.
It's no different
There's
from the
super rich
Parsi
and rich.
community.
He doesn't know. He didn't grow up with them. I've grown up with all Madus. I'll explain to you this.
I've grown up with all
The
Parsis.
poor-
It's no different.
The poor, for them, are the rich. Because they are not as rich as the super rich.
That's true.
That's it.
true. I get-
Sorry, Mr. Maloo, you were saying something.
No problem. I have to be extremely honest. There's absolutely nothing for the middle class in this budget. Primarily because there's no change in taxes
Okay.
from last year, right?
I see.
Everyone was expecting some sort of tax stops, some sort of some sort of announcement that would leave people with more money in their hands immediately. That unfortunately has not happened because maybe the government wanted to spend a lot more on the infrastructure that I just spoke about, and their hands were tied themselves because they couldn't, let go of the revenue that they may be generating this time around to go ahead and fund this capex and fund the infrastructure or government spending that they're going to do over the next 3 to 5 years. This is not particularly a bad thing because in the immediate term, you get some money, you spend, you do great things, and that money is forgotten in that particular year. But now, if you're spending on roads, if you're spending on infrastructure, if you're spending on things that are making business, doing business easy in the country, then you have a longer term horizon of, putting the economy on a growth path, which eventually will help you. So, from a
But
medium to long term standpoint, great. Immediately, nothing.
But Mangalam, let's get into more positive news, which is
Yeah.
60% of Parliament didn't understand the budget because Nirmala ji spoke in English. So how's that going to translate now? I mean, many of them are like, kya bola, kya kaha usne? And they all think they're middle class, by the way. All these guys in special security said they're all middle class, yeah, middle class.
So, if you, in absolute layman's terms, if you have to explain this budget, the
Yes.
biggest positive was that there was no negative, and the biggest negative was that there was no positive. Let's put it that.
Okay.
You should be a comedian. You're superb. You
Like
answered
Mangalam.
nothing after 1 hour of special budget for which you only spent 10 minutes on the topic, by the way. We got nothing. Thank you so much. You're in the right place.
So you would say the digital assets thing is the flashiest part of the budget right now. Is
The
that-
digital assets thing, the capex infra that they have announced, the fact that
It's-
they have bumped up the capex infra by about 35%. Last year it was 5.5 lakh crores. This has now gone up to 7.5 lakh crores. So if they can go ahead and actually spend that kind of money, that is a big positive. And the third big part is the fact that they are now, looking at spending a little more to spur up demand over the medium to long term. So that's, I think, from a long-term standpoint, it's strong, medium to long term. But then again, that's India, right? No matter what happens in between 2014 to 2021, 22, you see the
Bumpy
sector
roads.
happening. Yeah.
Yeah. So you don't know what other pandemic is to come or something we have not understood yet. Some like sort of terrible catastrophe. You
Yeah.
know,
Let's
like,
hope that nothing of that happens. But somehow the government is pricing that in as well because the expectation that they have in terms of tax collection, a lot of people are saying it's a very, very conservative this time around because last time they accounted or expected around 15 lakh crore in terms of tax receipts, and they ended up doing 17.3 lakh crores. This time they are expecting 19.3 lakh crores, which everyone believes they're likely to overshoot. They may
By
get
a big
around
margin.
20, 21,
And
or maybe even 22 lakh crores in terms of taxes.
You're right, because you and me pay our taxes being middle class, but these people who pretend to be middle class, no tax, because there's no Aadhaar card, nothing. There's no
I earn in
record of
crypto.
this guy.
Only now I'll have to start paying taxes.
Now they'll have to
there you
start
go.
paying 30% tax
Damn
on their local transfer of digital assets.
He's like the ghost who walks. All we know is that he lives in Powai. Nobody knows where, nothing. It's all. Sai, how can you not like chai, especially when it's raining and you're pakode? Arey Baba Girish, chai, coffee, I just don't know my things, brother. I have an infant's palate. I've said this before. Yeah, I like colorful, rangeen drinks.
Same here,
I see green, yellow, orange, and I get excited still. And then I have to
Gatorade.
not show it because people think you're like an idiot,
Yeah.
really. Which, of course, now it's a bit too late to sort of deny.
I just offered Cyrus some water and he threw the bottle out of my hand.
I was
He's like,
violent.
get it out of
I-
get it out of here.
You gotta give him
I-
lassi, give him Gatorade, give him
Yeah,
all those
correct.
fancy
But with
drinks and all
diabetes,
that
some of this
stuff.
has to stop. So I'm trying to now sort it out. But water is really highly overrated. For another podcast, we'll discuss this, but highly overrated concept. I really think water should not be given so much attention. It does nothing. Except when you're having a
lot
bath.
of money this time around was allocated for the National Jal Jeevan Mission, Nal Se Jal.
Well, they don't listen to me, obviously, Mangalam. They'd never listen to me. I mean, that's clear. Look at the roads.
No,
the
but
digging.
that over the medium term, that's an insanely awesome project if it happens. Because you and I sitting in our cozy homes and all of that and stuff, we don't understand the impact that it can have on consumption when water is available in your house 24/7 or it's in a tap in your house. When you don't have to travel 3 hours to just get a pot of water, you have 3 hours in your hand. You have water coming to you. You can think of other things. You can think of buying some products for consumption at home. You can buy processed food. I mean,
But let's
randomly
not.
speaking,
If we're going to think about what they can do with those 3 hours, we have to do another whole podcast. that's not going to end. But Silvery lives in Powai, right next to
short
the
point is
lake.
again the tertiary effect of all these things of construction, capex, water reaching your houses. is a lot more on the economy, the multiplier effect, than what you and I
I do have,
people
but,
can
but
get.
on that note, I have something which a little complaint offline I was telling you as well.
Yeah,
Whenever
yeah.
I'm trying to source the budget, especially when you go on YouTube and want to look at bits, I'm always getting stuff which has no bearing on me. Like I know everything
Yeah.
about for the farmers getting equipment can be borrowed and taken on hire, and there will be subsidies for certain such equipment. That took me about 15 minutes, and suddenly realized I'm not a farmer. I'm not even a guy who's selling the equipment. So I how do we, isn't there a way where you can focus, middle class people can focus on what they need to know, which is the tax belt, which is GST, for example, if you're a small business man, that kind of thing, and just get to the point. There are about 5-10 salient points we need, and the rest we don't really need. I mean, then we just pretend to care about whether it's a Garib budget or Amir budget.
Will it be shameless for me to plug my channel here? I just say what's
Please plug your channel. It's not shameless.
Yeah.
It's our desperate attempt to tell you that we love you. Go on, go ahead, please.
No, you just watch CNBC TV18. We'll tell you exactly what happens in terms of what happens to your investments.
And the show is called?
You watch CNBC TV18. There are multiple shows.
Why are you plugging the whole channel? Just plug you, no? I mean, sorry, the whole channel can't be good. There's no, like, MTV was horrible most of the time, except when Nikhil was on. Come on.
No, I didn't watch.
Chat privately with your guests. There's some message going back in the back here. I just got distracted. I don't know what's going on. I'm so sorry. Chat privately with your guests. Iska matlab kya hai?
What he's trying to say is that we're doing a lot of inside jokes here, and we should be doing this not on a public forum. And we should.
Is that what he's trying to say? No.
No.
You're too intelligent. Don't give your reasoning doesn't work in our little small pool. Yeah.
I was being told by my co-producer that we should ask about Make in India and what the budget means because Make in India before we get to the AMAs, if you can.
Yeah, finally. So one thing that they've done for Make in India and startups, etc. A couple of things. What they've done. One,
people are putting out the podcast. What have you done, producer?
I don't know.
Sorry, Mangalam, please continue. We're riveted. Make in India के बारे में उसका असली अर्थ क्या है?
Make in India के बारे में असली अर्थ ये है कि they've announced production linked incentives and all of that and stuff. That was announced last year, and the incentives were available to you up until investments that you made in 2023. But they've extended that by 1 year. They've extended that to 2024. So all investments that you make up until 2024 will be eligible for this incentive scheme that they've done. So, you can continue to invest for about 1 more year. That's the one thing that they've done. And, when Cyrus asked me about what is the best or the biggest budget announcement that you've seen over the last few years, what I've noticed is that some of the biggest announcements made by this government have been outside of the budget. Over the last 2 or 3 years, if you notice, ever since demonetization, what are the big highlight announcements that were made by the government? Demonetization was one of them, outside the budget. Corporate tax cut, that was made outside the budget. The big packages that they delivered to, for the country in terms of the ECLGS scheme or be it the production linked incentive scheme, all of that was done just at the pandemic outside of the budget. The other important things that they keep talking about, Make in India or startup funding and all of that and stuff, all of that has been outside the budget.
I honestly thought Make in India Mangalam is in reference to the IPL, that it should stay in India, and there was a diktat from the government ki Make in India IPL. But otherwise, all the money is going to the Gulf or South Africa or Sri Lanka, wherever else they were going to hold it.
Yeah, so it was exactly for people like you who thought that Make in India was for IPL, that they clarified it further. They called it Atmanirbhar Bharat.
Yeah, correct.
I prefer Make in India, yaar, because it'll take me 15 minutes to get that phrase right. There's no point. By the time I go nowhere in Parel.
See Atmanirbhar 5 times because you were
Atmanirbhar. I did it. I pulled it off, bro. This podcast gives you everything, including suspense, action, and words. We have to stop here, Mangalam. You're talking too much. Please. Let's watch CNBC instead and find out more from you on your morning show at 9 a.m. Who's your favorite CNBC analyst, if you like?
As in a co-anchor or
present or before? Who's your favorite?
You can't just answer one, right?
Oh, it's a tough one, is it? Okay, that's fine.
It's a tough one. But in the past, I can most definitely tell you the one person I actually literally grew up watching was Udayan Mukherjee. So there's no taking away from how high we hold him.
I know what you're saying. He was so slow that you actually aged over many years. He grew up watching him. The guy starts in June of 95. Mangalam, it's been great talking to you, but we have AMAs and people who are actually more interested. And these questions will be more suited to you, I think, because they've done their research and are actually middle class. No, they're not. Who's going to open the batting in the AMAs?
It's Harvespa Kasad. is going ahead.
Harvespa. I'm from
Harvespa.
Ahmedabad.
Yeah.
Parsi che Parsi. Gujarati bole thodu.
Yeah. So he
Ah.
says, a question for
Okay.
Mangalam. According to you, what could be the possible reason behind no change in the income tax slab in the current budget?
A couple of reasons. One, they had limited fiscal room because the government wanted to spend. By fiscal, I mean what the government spends and what the government earns. So they had limited room to cut those taxes. And the second thing, and this is again, just my hunch, there was no immediate political benefit of cutting the taxes, right? The next elections are in
And now I
2024.
like your thinking.
Let's put it that way.
If there's no matlabi thinking, why should anything be done?
No, I mean,
But I like that. I can live with that. If you show me the matlabi thinking and don't think about welfare and all that. Welfare and all is a dead concept. Yeah.
so these are the only two possible reasons. Everyone's confounded by why there was no cut in the income tax slab. And the other thing is that even if they do cut they won't increase the income tax slab, because what this does is that takes away
They'll
a lot of
widen.
people who are already, they want to widen the number of assessees. Even if they are 3.7 crores and most of them are zero tax paying people, they don't want to, I like the way you
Zero tax
physically
paying people. Did you like
demonstrated
how the
Turn it-
camera
turn it-
veered
turn
on
it
the
more that
zero
side.
tax paying people moment immediately on the person who
you
doesn't
widen
pay?
the lens immediately.
I mean,
I
I
widened
can I
it.
can also do that. I don't know if you pay your taxes, Cyrus.
I don't
He's in
make
the
any money.
HNI category. He has to pay the most amount of taxes in the country.
Yeah, right. That's right. Because of the money the relatives have left me, apparently. Is Cyrus at Silvery's home? No, but I am sitting on his lap, in case you noticed.
Yeah.
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 Silvery.
So
Yes.
those are the two reasons.
Sorry, Mangalam, but the meaning of that last question, not about finance, but the fact that he bunks work and it's going on. He's the kind of guy who's going to exploit the pandemic situation. You're going to have co-workers like that and will come because it's now always flexible, right? Going
mean,
forward
yeah,
for something.
yeah.
See, if you stay in Powai, why would you want to leave it, Cyrus?
I agree with you.
Why would you want to
Plus,
leave Powai?
Ghar ka khana.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, your mom is there. Your mom is there means
I
you don't have to do anything. Everything is done
Your
for
office is
you.
in Bandra, right?
Yeah, the studio, we like to call it
Ghar,
studio.
The
I know
studio.
you guys have offices. Ours is just a friggin' studio. Yeah. But there's a lassi guy downstairs. So if you ever come, you don't have to come up.
Khar is Upper Bandra.
Oh, stop it. I can't bear that anymore. One day we'll just do that. Just the roads of Mumbai. Let's do a whole podcast. Okay, let's just bitch. Oh, go on, sir.
Okay, Girish Patel has a question. He says, some economists say that we should completely abolish the income tax since the money spent to run the income tax department is much higher than what the
Is this
actual
true?
income tax
Girish, what?
generated is.
Girish is unbelievable.
I don't think that's true. I really
Yeah,
don't
I
think
don't
that's true
sound-
because.
But if it is, it's a fabulous point.
It's not about. I mean, it is not true because the the personal income tax gives you 7 lakh crores every year. I mean, that's what is estimated next year.
Small offices dotted across 30 odd states and union territories. I mean, I'm not saying it's adding up, but it's a sizable fiscal figure.
It is a sizable fiscal figure, but I mean, you completely abolish it and let people run amok. It's not that, a lot of it is also done to track the wealth and track the usage of that wealth as well. I mean, I can't be making hundreds and thousands of crores doing nefarious activities and not paying any tax, right?
These guys who don't pay, these guys who just slip out of the net. That's the problem we're having, bro. That's the issue, really, really. Anyway, back to the next question. Beta.
Yep, sure. Next one comes in from Stranger Things. He says, why aren't we talking about the new 80 lakh houses for poor, Har Ghar Jal till 2023, 400 Vande Bharat trains, etc. So the Har Ghar Jal is actually quite...
You've spoken about, yeah.
Yeah. So that's actually a very good program, though. They had like a massive success and they have said 16,000.
But on meter, Vande Mataram and Vande Bharat trains, and please, this is not something that you have to write letters of objection to, sound the same. Just the rhythm. I mean, don't try this at home, but I'm just saying, as an observation, as a musical person with a rhythm sense, which I naturally have. And now that's pointless. We'll go back to you. Why aren't you talking about new 80 lakh houses for poor?
We just spoke about Har Ghar Jal and new 80 lakh houses for poor. I mean, it's not a new announcement in the budget. It has been made announcements to this effect have been made in the past. They're just reiterating that. And PM
It's a bit mean.
is already on. Yeah.
Isn't it a bit mean? Because the 80 lakh houses are there for the poor, and then the rest of the poor, what do we say next year? What do you say to them?
80 lakh in one. Oh, sorry.
Ran out. Well played, beta. Well played. Bijli. Sorry. Very insensitive.
So yes, we are talking about these things, stranger things. 400 Vande Bharat.
Imagine if we ran Parliament. the sensitive Silvery and me sitting together. I mean, Netflix chalu hai bhai. Budget next year.
I shudder to imagine how we would cover the budget at that point.
I'm wondering myself, if there's a live game going on, for example, you have to suspend it, I mean, there's some sport going on in some part of the world. It's going to be really hard. Silva,
Yes.
you become the next leader of this country.
I mean, I wouldn't mind.
Yeah. Firstly,
If people want to vote for me, I'm not stop
pharmaceuticals
that.
will go up immediately. And that's a huge, money spinner for India. IT and pharmaceuticals.
Yeah, true.
You get what I mean now? Wink, wink.
Sure, yeah, I love
okay.
it.
All right.
Okay, last. This
Last.
one comes in from, again, another Girish Patil question. He says, this was the shortest budget speech, 90 minutes by Nirmala. 2 years ago, she clocked 2 hours, 40 minutes with 2 pages still to go. Cyrus, how long can you talk without a break?
I can't do it. I'm breathless. The famous song is the best I could do one verse. But coming back to her, I saw parts of the speech and I felt sometimes she was a little bored, even in the shorter version. Just the delivery style. When you're talking to people, you're not interested. It's like when you're with relatives or whatever.
That's why she kept it short, right? She
but that's I'm saying. Imagine the one which was very long as against this one.
She's pumped
because
up. She's talking more.
Unless you really
elaborating.
like the subject, like I think he could do it. I think it's difficult because you also go to areas which you have no empathy or no identification with.
Yeah,
let's be honest, okay? You're talking about like electrical things and electronic. Well, they're just industries which your scope is not there. So you're doing an acting job. I can't believe unless you're one of those real technocrat nerd type guys, which you're not. You're a pilot, but I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Sylvie, so don't make fun, okay? It's a tough thing to do. Read the budget.
Yeah.
And listen to the budget.
Finance
is so hard.
minister.
Can you imagine reading?
9,000
jokes
words,
now.
9,017 words.
Should Nirmala ji have put in a couple of gags? I thought in the middle. Because, if you go back in time...
she put in a couple of shairis, so if that counts. And
so that is not funny intended. So that was not right.
I
It's
just thought of
mean.
something.
Huh.
Wouldn't it be funny if someday they increase taxes and decrease taxes in the same budget?
Yeah.
Like startup budget, you say like,
So you're back to
80%
normal.
tax.
Back to
And then
normal.
like, oh, by the way, it's only 30%. I was just kidding. Psych.
no, if you're in the
Yeah, great
equity
budget.
markets, that would be a great cocktail for a heart attack.
Yeah, I'm
Because
sure.
at the start of the budget, they say 80% tax,
Correct.
the Sensex tanks about 10%, and
Yeah.
then immediately they say, oh, no, we were just kidding. The
Normal,
Sensex
we can manipulate. So we buy immediately and then on page
Yeah.
37 of the budget, we sell.
Correct. Yeah,
It just
sorted.
goes back up.
By the time you reach page 37, someone would have reached there already.
Mangalam, why am I talking to you? I've got a genius here. I've got an absolute genius, boss.
I should be finance minister.
The
not
middle
prime
class,
minister.
are fighting back finally. Chalo, are we do last one? Let's end on a nice note.
Okay,
It's
sure.
not horrible. Huh.
Okay, sure. This one, Akshay K asks, Mangalam, can you share your gym experience with Cyrus? And he also asks, Mangalam, any stories you want to share when Cyrus Brocha bullied you in the TV18 office?
Huh? What rubbish? Kunal bullies him. I don't bully people.
Yeah,
Okay.
Kunal is the... Cyrus
Serious
actually
one.
is the nicer... I mean, with all due respect, Kunal is-
Loop it, I'll put it on Insta.
Okay,
Please
cool.
loop that. He came to talk about the budget and he just insulted Kunal for no reason. For no
with
reason.
all due respect to Kunal. With all due respect to Kunal. But no. His general appearance and the fact that he talks more than anyone else I know in terms of words per minute is intimidating enough. So he doesn't really need to bully. And then with the kind
Kunal.
of weights that he lifts. No, that's you.
You,
and
Cyrus.
with the kind of weights
No
that he
way.
lifts,
Now,
that-
but
What are you talking
I like the way you're sinking in the bloody sea here, but you're pulling it out. You're pulling it out of your ass, but you're doing it really
I got
well.
the idea from Antariksh. At the start of the budget, you say 80% tax cut and then say no.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Well played.
Nice.
6. Well played. What a save that was. That was great. Yeah. But just to answer the question, we get along very well. It's not an issue. I don't know why we had to insult Kunal, but, but he's not told an untruth. He's not told an untruth. Yeah.
But I have to, since we were talking about that, I have to just say that because I've been listening to this podcast so regularly, every time I have butterscotch ice cream, I remember Kunal and your story with him.
The beggar, no?
Yeah.
The beggar story. It's true.
Yeah. And that's what scares me about Kunal. I'm like, one day he's having some ice
No,
cream. And I'm
what
like,
scares me, the people around us think he's the charitable one. They think I'm the truth. They think I'm the selfish, non-empathetic, insensitive, whatever. And he's the Mother Teresa. The guy who said, then they'll not appreciate it because they'll never be able to afford. But if it was vanilla, I'll give it to. How can you? How can you do that to a beggar?
That is so sad.
And the beggar was
I know.
because he used to smoke in those days,
Yeah.
smoke and ice cream at the same time. So the window was down 2 inches with AC on. This is elite at its best. The
So you mean
disparity
he's
at its
blowing
best.
smoke in her
Blowing
face while
smoke in
saying
her-
no.
with ice cream cone, with the music, some Western English song going in the background, and she's going, and I mean, and no, because it's a disservice to her to give her butterscotch. It's just a disservice. We go back and buy vanilla, and I'll feed her. This kind of conversation, rubbish. Poor thing.
All right.
She must have passed away because this is 20 years back.
Oh,
Must be
you're-
dead by now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Okay.
Mangalam, this was great talking to you. I know you're busy. You've got to get back to work. You put the suit on
Yes.
and do your real job. I hope let's get him on. Can you come on and just talk to us in any case? Because not just markets, we can go.
Yeah,
Anytime.
just
freewheeler,
fly a
whatever.
plane down here to Bombay, man.
Please,
Just come
please,
here.
please.
Anytime.
Take us
The
out
only
with
problem
an-
There's no runway at Low Parel though.
Oh shit.
Or maybe there is. Maybe there is.
Dikhta nahi hai.
Maybe there is.
Okay, cheers, bro. Can you
Thanks,
take us out? Take us out with a pilot announcement since that's popular right now.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for flying. Cyrus Says we've reached our destination. I hope you have a good stay here.
Don't let them answer that question because it'll not be nice. The answers will be horrible. Thank you, Mangalam.
Thank
Have
you.
a great day. I'll
Thank
see you
you.
tomorrow in the studio.
Yes.
Bye-bye.
I'll see you. Goodbye.
Bye, Silvery.